Hello and welcome to an Everyday Canines video. This is the A to Z of hoopers, and in this episode we're talking about the foundations of the hoop. So this is a hoop, and it's basically two uprights with a piece going over the top that makes a spacious hoop for the dog to go through with a bar across the bottom for stability. You can make these yourselves very easily, and I'll make sure there's a link put in this video where you can find plans for making these, but they're really simple to make. They don't take much. So we've got Merlin here today as our demo dog, and we're going to talk about building some nice foundations for your hoops. So what you want with your hoops is you want your dog to have value to drive out to them and choose to go through them, even when they're at a distance from you. So you want them to be able to see a line of hoops and follow it all the way around without you having to be right on top of them or going with them. We want to see pure independence here. We don't want to have to guide them through. So how I begin this, and if you've watched my Pup to Pro series, you can have a heads up. How I do this is we start by shaping it. And I do a similar thing on jumps, actually, if you watch the Beginner's Guide to Agility. What I want to do is I want to see my dog choosing to go through on his own, and I'm going to reward that. And I'm going to try and not offer body signals or anything at this stage. Now, Mr. Merlin's, he's 11. He's never done a lot of shaping because when I started with him, you didn't do so much shaping, we did a lot of luring. So, good boy. So I am going to be having to work with him a bit hard. That's why I've chosen him to do this, because he won't naturally do this. So it's going to be a better video for you than my dogs who can do this spot on straight off. So he happened to accidentally walk through the hoop, and I rewarded it because that's what I want. Mr. Merlin, yay, good boy. And he put a foot towards the hoop. So what we want to see is we want to see the dog doing any form of movement in the correct direction to the hoop. It could be just an accidental paw in the tray or even a look. I don't mind what. I just want to see him do something, and I'll reward it, preferably with a treat the other side of the hoop so he has to move through the hoop to do it. Now what I'm not doing is I'm not luring him, because I could do this. If I did this, straight through the hoop. I don't want to do that. I don't want him just following the treat. I want him to pick to go through the... Good boy! It's a better foundation for learning if you do this sort of shaping. Good boy. Now you see he's already starting to get the idea. Good boy. It builds up better value. Good boy. And it is a better learning process. It's a stronger learning process. Good boy. So see, all I'm doing now, he's got the idea. Good. As soon as I can see he's going, good. I'm throwing the treat. Now I'm throwing the treat ahead of him. Good boy. Because I don't want him looking at me. Nice. Good boy. Can we get some more sweeties, Merlin? Because I want him to be looking at the hoop and seeing where he's going. I don't want him looking at me for feedback. I'm going to put my hands. Nice. And see, we're getting a bit, and also I'm getting him to drive through. Good boy, get it. So I can see he's going to do the hoop. I put out the treat. And I'm doing very little, good boy, apart from rewarding him with my verbals. Nice. And throwing the treat. And I'm trying to throw him in a way that is not very obvious my arm is going. Good boy. Now I'm doing it all on this side of the hoop. Good boy. I will also need to do it on the other side of the hoop, but that's not going to be a good angle for the video, but we need to do it both sides of the hoop. Good boy. So that is fantastic. Very nice. Now how I can progress this, I am right on top of the hoop at this moment in time. Good boy, get it. Because I'm this close, it's very difficult. He could go between me and the hoop, but it's very difficult. As I put a step back, we now open the possibility of him coming this way. Good boy. So now it's over here, my man. There, look. So now we're seeing if we build value for the hoop and see if he can understand that just because Merlin's over there, go get it. Just because I'm standing back doesn't mean you come between me and the hoop. We come over here to see where the sausage box is. So you see, here we are, and you're going, can that work? Am I going to get anything for that? That doesn't work. So it's not just walking past me. I have to actually walk past the hoop. Because if I did it all there, it could be the dog's just learning that that's the distance it walks past me. And that happens, the hoop is there. So it could be it's not actually learning anything. Are you ready? What you could do? Hey, what you could do? Good boy. Now when you're doing shaping, good boy, you will get these moments when the dog stalls. Good boy. Nice. Good boy. Okay, Merlin, come here, please. Good boy, sit. So you get these moments when the dog stalls. The reason for this is the dog is using its brain heavily in thinking, and it comes to this point in time where it goes, what am I doing that's earning this reward? And they stop and they freeze up, and it's just a little bit of processing time. So when that happens, just wait. And usually it comes towards the end of a session, you've done quite a bit, just wait. See what they do. Hopefully after 30 seconds a minute, they'll go, I'll try this. And if they get it right and they do what you want, end there. If they really have stopped, they don't seem to be moving along, you might need to take it back a stage depending where you were, maybe take it back. So say I was here and he stopped, I would then, and I waited and he didn't do anything, he seemed very much like he'd lost, he wasn't sure what to do, then I would move back to the stage where I was stood here, good boy, and see if he could do it there. I don't want, the idea of shaping is you keep moving forward, you don't want to have to keep moving backwards. But sometimes you do just have to help them. And that's where I would end the session. You want to end the session on a positive, where they finish. The important thing is not to lose patience and go, well, I'll just lure them through this time. That's not the point. You do have to let them think it out for themselves. And it is very easy to get tempted to do that, because I can confess to being like that when I first started shaping. I'd go, oh, but he could, oh, if I just do this. It doesn't work like that. You do have to wait. And the more shaping you do with the dog, the better they get at it, the more resilient, the less of these stalls you get. So that's how we're starting to build our value for one hoop. We're working both sides. We're going to get the handler moving back away from the hoop with the dog still going through the hoop. Every time you start your session, go back a stage for a first few repetitions before moving back to where you finished it. So if I'd gotten to here on my last session, I wouldn't start here, I'd start here. The reason being, you just take it back to that little bit easier step and then you move onwards for the difficulty. If you go straight back to where you were the hardest difficulty, sometimes what happens, and quite often happens, is the dog loses it, not really sure, because that was the hardest level it reached. So you just go back a fraction, not all the way back, but just one step back, and then you move on. I'd only do like 1, 2 here, and then I'd start moving on again. And that's what you do when you want to just build up your distance and have fun with this. So that's how you begin building value for your hoops. And you can do it in a back garden, you could do it in a living room. Quite frankly, you can do this sitting on your sofa, which to me is always a bonus in dog training. I hope you've enjoyed this Everyday Canines video, and if you have, you might have subscribed to our YouTube channel, and you can check us out on Facebook and Instagram, and I hope to see you all again very, very soon.